Welcome. You are listening to the Courageous Nerd YouTube channel. Today's interview is with actor Aaron Dalla Villa, who has worked in film, TV, music, and on stage. Aaron has done guest spots on shows like Gotham, Madam Secretary, and Late Night with Seth Meyers. His film roles include Pledge, Trick, and All Those Small Things. Meanwhile, Aaron has done voice work for video games and commercials. He's won Best Ensemble Broadway World Long Island in 2015 for Orphans by Lyle Kessler and directed by James Bonney. Aaron has also released music under the name Dalla Villa, which is available on Spotify. Enjoy the interview. Right, so welcome and thank you for taking the time to do this.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm happy to be here.
Right, and I was wondering, obviously, so you're an actor, and how did your journey in acting start? Was it a childhood hobby, or did it kind of come later?
I've always been a natural actor. My grandmother used to call me Jim Carrey. It used to annoy me, but I've kind of embraced it. And I've always been interested in the arts. It started in music, and then I fell into dance, and then I fell into acting. So I'm excited to just kind of bring these branch out of my skills and to just learn different skill sets as well.
Right, so I've heard you're originally from the state of Virginia, right? And you later moved to New York City. So was that to pursue acting, or was that for like other reasons entirely?
That was entirely when I moved from Chicago to New York. It was because a manager found me online, literally found my website, scouted me, and said, it's those stories that you hear of that happen that rarely happen. He found me, emailed me, and said, do you have any pursuit of acting in New York? Do you have any interest in doing that? And I said, oh my gosh, absolutely. I dropped everything I was doing in Chicago, and I literally moved 2 suitcases to New York to make it happen. I lived in a house with like 10 other guys and him. So yeah.
Right, and one of your recent projects is the film Immortal. So what can you kind of tell us about that movie and the character you played in it?
I play the class clown. You know, if I'm not playing the villain, a lot of the times I have comedy chops, so I'll play the comedic relief. So I play the comedic relief of that scene in particular. It's basically through my banter and witty banter and dialogue with Dylan Baker's character that it kind of helps tell the overall philosophy of the film, of what the film is about, which is about immortality.
Right, and how would you say your learning experiences in earlier acting jobs have helped shape who you are as a professional today?
It's everything. You know, you learn the most. You can try to learn as much as you can in school. It's nothing like being on a professional set. You really learn the most when you're on a professional set working with professionals, from how you behave yourself on set to how you interact with other people.
And so we were talking about this before we were recording, but it's obviously in the 2018 film Pledge, which is on Hulu, you played the character Max. And how did you become involved with that project?
I found that project on casting networks, and literally no agent, no manager submission. It was me who submitted for the project. And I walk into the room, and it's these two guys in this apartment. We do the scenes that they wanted me to prepare, and then we do an improvisation. And I let loose. You know, I'm taking water and I'm pouring it on Zachary Wiener's face. And we actually have the footage of my audition, which we're going to show to an audience later on in this other project we're working on. And I was told that literally the moment I walked out of the room, they didn't see any other people auditioning for my part. They said, he's the guy for that role. I was the first person cast in that movie.
Yeah. And you mentioned Zachary Wiener, who is actually also in the film. He plays a character called David. So how different is acting alongside the writer compared to other jobs when that isn't the case?
To me, it doesn't matter if I'm acting with the director or if I'm acting with the writer. Obviously, I try to respect the writer's words, but what I have found in a lot of film, especially indie films, they're very cool with improvisation, and I'm very comfortable with improvisation. I mean, you wouldn't dare you do a stage play. You wouldn't dare try to, improvise Pinter's words. You
Right,
just
of
you just
course.
don't.
Yeah.
But you get into an indie film scenario. I have found that all the directors I work with are very cool with me improvising. The most recent one I did, all those small things with James Faulkner, who is a English actor.
Mm,
He is a English actor.
yeah.
The director was basically like, "Hey, I want you to improvise and be a wild card and stuff, kind of see if you can throw him off." So
Mm,
the director will say, "We walk in the scene, and the scene is me basically telling James that, hey, this is my place. You're okay to stay here. If I can get you anything, let me know." So, but then he says, "I want you to improvise down this whole long hallway and then hit the first line at this mark. So play." And I'm very comfortable with playing. So when I'm working alongside the writer director specifically, try to honor their words, and we make that sort of agreement beforehand. But Pledge, they were very cool with improv, and Zach was totally cool with taking his script and playing with it and stuff. And then that's where I let all that go away, and I just do moment to moment, whatever's happening in the scene, I just live and breathe it best I can.
yeah. And so without giving too much away to anyone who hasn't seen it, your character goes to some dark places. So how do you prepare for playing people with that kind of personality type?
Music, music.
Mm,
I listen to very dark music to get into that mentality, metal or hard heavy metal and stuff. Just get into that rage kind of mode. I channeled a specific person. I'm not going to say who from
mm,
my life that I said I'm going to model it after this person. That just kind of came up, and being a little method acting in that too, to a certain extent, where it doesn't hurt anybody really helped me live and breathe that rage that was going on inside of him.
yeah. And another project you were in was Trick
Mhm.
opposite Jamie Kennedy.
Right, right.
And my understanding is that Trick is a slasher
Uh-huh.
film.
Yep.
And obviously, Jamie Kennedy was in Scream, which is one of the most successful slasher franchises of all time. So, would you say that Scream and other films like that influenced Trick?
Oh, 100%. Patrick Lussier is the director of Trick, and he has directed one of the Scream films. That's
Mm,
how he has his relationship with Jamie Kennedy and Omar Epps. And yeah, it was a pleasure working on that film. And that film was sort of a similar. He was much less calculated than Max. He was much more
mm,
let's go along with the fun of things. I imagine him like a Western, Midwest, bread and butter America sort of frat guy.
right.
As if Maxwell Peterson III was Skull and Bones. This one is University of Kansas, you know what I mean, or something,
Mm,
something like that, or even a community college.
right.
Right.
And
I don't even know
another
if
film.
there is a University of Kansas, but that's my point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course. And something else you were in was a film called Alpha Rift with Lance Henriksen. And how did you find the experience of working on that project?
One of my favorite projects working on so
Mm,
far. I've been really fortunate, really blessed to work on some amazing projects. That one, being able to work opposite Lance, who's a sci-fi genre legend,
yeah, absolutely.
and he just had a film with Viggo Mortensen go to Sundance, where he's acting opposite Viggo Mortensen.
Mm,
I'm very excited for the success of that film and what he may achieve because of that. To work opposite this guy who's got this huge career, yet he's so humble and he's so funny. So
right.
imagine me the night before, we're staying at the same bed and breakfast, and it's me and him literally going over the script. And I'm just
Mm,
pinching myself because I'm like, wow, this is really cool. A lot of the times you don't get that sort of attention. You're in a hotel room, you barely have talks with them, but no, literally it was me and him chilling in this bed and breakfast, the day before, the night before, just me and him just talking about the script and then having breakfast with each other in the morning. So that was really cool.
right. And kind of looking in the backlog of your career so far, you've done television on shows like Gotham and Madam Secretary, you've done theatre, you've done short films. Do you have a preference for the kind of medium that you're acting in, or do you kind of just view acting as a whole in and of itself?
I love film. Film is
Right.
by far my favorite thing. Or television if I went the time Then I played a project called Duels, where I was the lead of the show. That was a
Mm.
short scripted television series I loved. I loved that because I really got to develop an arc with the character. Any project that I get to develop an arc with the character, a larger role, I love it. I think that's so much fun.
Right. And you've also worked in music. You've two singles on Spotify. And with so much acting work under your belt, is music something you'd want to pursue further?
Music came as a result of, I just dropped my third one on Friday. Music came as a result of COVID and only getting voiceover auditions, and on camera was slow for a minute. It's back now. I've
Right.
actually booked something for Netflix that I'm shooting next month. That's a new series. That's a new show that's going to be on Netflix.
Mm.
And I wanted to put it out there. I had these raps in my computer for so long, and I just wanted to finally put it out there. But the beautiful thing that's happening is I'm finding a way to marry the music and the acting together, and I'm getting people to ask me questions like you, for example, about
Of
both the
course.
acting and the music, tying them together, getting people who see my acting to listen to my music, people who listen to my music to see my acting, and for products I have coming out, the one that I have, the one with James Faulkner, I wrote lyrics for two songs in
Mm.
that have parts of them in the film as of right now.
Right.
So, and then I have rights to those two songs as well, so that I'll be able to share that with the world when the time is right. And this other project, they're asking me to write a song for and actually put it into the film. So that's what I was working on before I linked up with you on Skype today.
Right. And this is actually the final question I've got here. So obviously, it goes without saying the world's kind of in troubling times, with the pandemic and those that kind of thing. So if you could share a message or sentiment to fans of you or your work, what would you want to say?
Oh man. First off, I just want to say thank you for the support, for the encouragement. Sometimes it's hard for me to get out of bed in the morning, you know.
Mm.
It's hard for me to keep going and continue the fight. And it means so much for me, for people who support me. And I hope to inspire and motivate people by my grind and my hustle and my grit to pursue their own dreams, no matter what the circumstances around us, which a lot of it we cannot control.
Mm.
I can only control what I can control, and what I can control is the content that I put out there. So I'm hoping it's well received, and I hope that it inspires people to go out there and create their own stuff.